All right, welcome back to the Complete Game community. This week, I'm going to talk to you about the power of the assessment and how it can help you write a ton of business here in 2021.
Shift your mindset.
You spend so much time trying to earn a meeting, and you get so excited when you've got meetings on the calendar. But then what happens? You spend every meeting recreating the wheel. You don't have a process, you don't have a strategy, and you lead yourself down the path of frustration. And I've done that so many times in my career, but it was when I created clarity around the pipeline process. It's when I created a simplistic strategy, the assessment, that made it easier for my ideal prospects to say yes. And that is what I want to teach you today. Think about this. You spend all this time, as I said earlier, working to get that meeting. And when that prospect says, yes, I will take a meeting with you, what is your strategy at that point? What happens then? And so when I work with my clients, one of the things we spend so much time on is a strategy around the pipeline. And we break it down into 3 steps. Number 1, you've got the discovery meeting, the intro meeting, right? That is where it's your job to get to learn about your prospect, ask the right questions to see what their goals, what their challenges are. But then when it comes to the next step, that's when it gets fuzzy. That's when it gets gray. I see a lot of brokers who are collecting data, they're collecting renewal information, maybe some claims information, but then what? This is where the power of the assessment can come in. So if you break down your pipeline strategy into 3 steps, number 1, discovery call, intro meeting. You're going to get to know that prospect, you're going to get them to know you, and then you're going to get them to take that second meeting. Remember, the whole goal of your first meeting is to get the second date, right? Now, when it comes to the second meeting, this is where the assessment comes in. If you make the second discussion, the second meeting with your prospect all about filling out, completing an assessment, this is where you can change your results drastically. So what am I talking about when I mention the word assessment? In that second meeting, that second step, however you are connecting with your prospect, you need to come back with an assessment. You need to walk them through a set of questions that allows you to determine if they're a fit for your process, if they're a fit for you. This is where we brokers make the mistake of begging for business. And we go out and we get interviewed by these prospects. And when we have no strategy, we are leaving it up to them to determine if they want to do business with us. You need to flip the script. Once you know who you are trying to attract, your job is to actually go find the prospects that are a fit for you, and the assessment can help you do that. Here is an easy way to set up an assessment that you could literally implement tomorrow. I want you to come up with a set of 5 or 6 questions that you're going to ask your ideal prospect in that second appointment that is going to allow you to determine where they fall on the spectrum of being an ideal prospect for you. And the best questions you can ask during an assessment are on a scale of 1 to 10. So I often work with brokers who focus on self-funding, for example. A great question to ask in an assessment question is, on a scale of 1 to 10, how much risk are you willing to take when it comes to your health insurance program? 1 being, we want no risk whatsoever, Andy. 10 being, you know what? We understand risk, we're okay with taking it because we know the rewards on the other side. That's a great question to filter out how much risk that prospect's willing to take. How about on a scale 1 to 10? How confident are you that your employees are buying their medications at the lowest price possible? So if you've got a strategy that you know helps reduce the cost of prescription drugs, ask a question around their confidence in their employees' current ability to buy meds at a lower cost. 1 being no confidence, 10 being 100% confidence. My point is this. When you create an assessment that walks your prospect through a set of 5 or 6 questions, each being on a scale of 1 to 10, here's what it allows you to do when you come back for the third appointment, the proposal. You now can come back with an assessment that has a score. So let's imagine you did 5 questions, all on a scale of 1 to 10. The max score they could earn is 50 points, correct? Well, you come back and based on their answers, you let them know, based on taking our assessment, you scored a 29. Now, here's the hack. The 29 out of 50 doesn't mean anything. But here's where it legitimizes your assessment. You now can come back through and walk them through each question, saying, hey, you gave this a 4 out of 10. Tell me why you gave it a 4 out of 10. And here's where the magic happens. They're going to let you know exactly why they gave that score a 4 out of 10. They're going to puke out all the information you want. But by also coming back in the third meeting, the proposal with an assessment, it legitimizes you have a process. It makes that prospect feel confident that you know what you're doing because, man, they met with us in the first meeting. They got to know us. Now they walked us through an assessment. And here they're back with the proposal, walking us through the results of the assessment because based on the results of the assessment your prospect takes, you're going to give them the recommendation. This is where an assessment is game-changing. So if there's any advice I can give to you today to simplify your pipeline, to make it easier for your prospects to say yes to you, so it doesn't feel like you're recreating the wheel with every prospecting opportunity, develop an assessment. And the last thing to do with it is brand it, name it. So that when you meet with your prospects for the first time, you ask the right questions to get to know them, they get to know you a little bit, and you tell them that the next step is you're going to walk them through your ABC assessment. It makes them feel like, man, this advisor, this agency, they know what they're doing. We're about to take their assessment to see where we fit into their strategy. It's a complete game changer. I promise when you deploy this strategy, it will make it easier for your prospects to say yes to you. I used this strategy in one event, and I scheduled over 12 appointments. Because when it comes to the assessment, when it comes to creating the assessment, as I've said multiple times on this video, it legitimizes your process. It gives your prospects confidence that you know what you're doing. So walking away today, do yourself a favor. Create an assessment right now. Come up with 5, 6 questions, all based on a scale 1 to 10 that's going to allow you to vet that prospect to see where they fit and to see if they're a fit for your process, for your strategies. And then use that assessment, use the results to go back to them in a third meeting, the proposal, so you can share the findings of the assessment, ask why they gave the scores they did, and then based on their assessment results, remember the 29 out of 50 doesn't really mean anything, you can now make your recommendation. So give it a try. If you have any questions, if you don't know what questions to come up with for an assessment, hit me up. I work on this with my clients. It's been a game changer for every advisor who has started taking action on this, and I know it can change the results for you. Go make it happen.